Good day, love.
Hey,
Welcome back to the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. This is episode 86, and I am Coach Tensi.
I'm Coach Soul. How y'all doing?
Welcome back.
As you know, our podcast follows our 5-prong healing system, which consists of be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine.
The Freedom 5.
Today is Monday, so it's B Day.
Yes,
and I'm wearing my Become Your Own Breakthrough t-shirt.
Yes.
Become Your Own Breakthrough.
B is all about everything spirit, everything mindset, everything emotions, and really getting acquainted with true seeing, who you are and how you have been and what you will become, So today we're talking about something along that same wavelength that is pretty, it's important. It's important and it's profound in its simplicity. So the topic for today is
a continuation from last B Day. So last B Day, we spoke about the nature of your true self, as discussed in Culture Control, Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, my new book. And I keep forgetting to put the link in the description.
It's in the
Everybody say bad host. But the true self conversation that we had, we went a little below the surface, meaning it got deeper than a beginner is able to go by themselves. And we're going to kind of continue from there. And I just have this strange feeling of like a hair touching another hair around my nose and mustache. So there's that.
Seems like that was resolved. So this is a beautiful opportunity, I think, for us, especially as parents and as freedom seekers, as truth seekers, to explore the true nature of our truest self, right? The one that is beyond perception, that true self with a capital S, if you would like to get fancy. And I feel like one of the big things, because everyone always has a story that prompted them to even begin to get on this journey of self-discovery. And my journey began with really having a curiosity around spirituality and wanting to exploring different teachings and philosophies around what it means to embrace your inner divinity. And just that fascination took me on a journey of a lot of exploration. And you okay, Omi? I'm sleeping. Then these explorations, they continued as, like, especially when I met you, I feel like it just kind of amped up a bit, because you had your own meditation journey that you were on, and it inspired me so much, because I was one of the people that, I felt like I couldn't focus if I was just sitting still. My mind would be drifting everywhere all the time, all at once. and I identified with the one that said, I can't sit and meditate. It's just really hard for me, and I have to be moving. That's like my meditation. Movement is like my meditation. So there is active movement and whatnot, but just, you were watching a specific video by he doesn't call himself a spiritual teacher, but in truth, he's a true spiritual teacher, a true educator, and educator in the truest sense of the word, to where, back in its roots, even in Latin, it means, the word educare means to lead from within. So truly leading from within. And you were playing a video by Muji, who I'm talking about. And you were just like, you brought me into the space and was like, you have to experience this. I don't remember your exact wording. Maybe you do. But it was like finally experientially seeing and understanding and knowing what this true self is. And that was just the beginning. Like, it is like the can of worms that got opened up. But these are gummy worms that I loved, So it's something that I wanted to come back to, again and again and again, and really see and explore a little more deeply and understand it more. Um, so that's kind of where it started for me. And along this journey, it helped me separate this idea I had of myself and my troubles and my woes and my anxieties from the truth that it's all within something greater, and it cannot tarnish your you can't tarnish your spirit, who you really are. So yeah, I want to add on to.
Well, first, well, yeah, I can add to the story element a little bit, but not too much. I would say that my, you could say, journey or reason for starting to look objectively would be my introduction and interest in a philosopher, Alan Watts. Alan Watts started the journey. Now, Alan Watts was a teacher through parables more than instruction. And then when Muji and his old spiritual teacher, Papaji, came along, they more teach via instruction. Although Muji tells plenty of stories and parables as well, but he even made up a practice, you could call it, called the invitation, which is like very clear, very simple instruction and very powerful instruction. But anyway, I started listening to Alan Watts when I was about 23, 24 years old, and something that resonated about his speaking style is that there was never any emphasis on um, anything besides what what is true and what can be true. And so there was a whole philosophy built around what is true and what can be true versus a philosophy like most philosophers that's built on what can be at all, just what can be, what can exist. And so what,
I'm gonna walk around with it a little bit.
yeah,
Seems
what
like you're
can
trying
be
to
true about, the nature of God or the supreme being, what can be true in terms of the nature of the self, and what can be true in terms of the nature of humanity as a collective group. It's very powerful stuff. And the stories that he would tell and how he would make allegories to like the court gesture or the ancient Zen Buddhism koans that he would explain got me to look within in an objective kind of way. And then Muji's guidance got me to look in an objective way properly. So I'm going to read a little bit from my book again to really get into this topic. My book again is entitled Culture Control, subtitle Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 15 of my book. Where we left off, finished with the statement: true stillness beyond effort and thought can be extremely hard to reach for many people, but a glimpse into who you are before your first thought starts speaking reveals a profound truth. At the level of the self, there are no desires, troubles, mysteries, no aims, boundaries, definitions, phenomena, qualities, nor properties at all. Yet you are still here. And I compared this to the state of deep sleep. In deep sleep, where there is no dream, you're not dreaming, your brain is not showing that you're dreaming, and objectively you're just not dreaming. For hours, there is no time, no phenomena, no qualities, no properties, no boundaries, no beginnings, no ends, no troubles, no desires, no mysteries, no aims. Yet you are here. Undeniably, you are still here. It's not the you that is this dynamic consciousness that resonates with your body and your energy kind of signature, and the story of your life that you tell yourself, as well as the story of your life that others will tell you about yourself. These things and these resonant, experiences in this life are not the true self. They are the vessel. They are the path that the true self condenses you know parts of its power into, to have an experience of human life temporarily here on earth. So from the book, we continue: your true self is not your dynamic consciousness alone. It is the pure awareness that was not created, born, nor awakened. Pure awareness simply is. The Christ light that Yeshua teaches about, that lives in us all, the kingdom of heaven, which he says is found in the heart, is your true being. Locked in a dormant state until the truth is accepted and integrated, the mind cannot think its way to this realization. So, I won't try and fully explain it here, but humanity stands to make great progress with every soul who awakens to such knowledge, to the point that it becomes their living experience. I do not discourage anyone who is in love with the Bible to throw away the teachings of Yeshua about love, the true God, freedom, nor do I encourage that religionists be condemned by spiritualists. I recognize that these stories and teachings have been altered and ultimately are mostly allegorical, related to astrology, astrotheology, with some mixed history in with some history mixed in. I have the text pretty small. Please forgive me. I keep thinking to look over to all the cameras, and that's messing up my reading ability. I'm going to run it back a little bit. I don't say that religionists should be condemned by spiritualists. I do recognize that these stories and teachings have been altered and ultimately are mostly allegorical, related to astrotheology, with some history mixed in from the much older source material coming out of Sumeria, Kemet, India, and Southern Africa. That said, however, if the Christian or Islamic religious belief system is used as inspiration for you to personally develop a relationship with the divine, and you can discover yourself through that path, then by all means adhere to the teachings of your religion for yourself. Just remember the historical truths about the books themselves. My only plea to religionists is that you allow for freedom to ring in regard to what to think rhetoric for yourself and your children's worldview. Freedom is a moral choice, and with morality comes real change in our world. So, just to back up a little bit, your true self is not your dynamic consciousness alone. It is the pure awareness that was not created, born, nor awakened. This right here means something very profound yet very hidden if all you use is your egoic thinking to try and break it down. Most intimate to your experience are your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. These are the most intimate pieces of your dynamic story and your body, right? Because you can feel the emotions that come with thoughts. Obviously, you can feel yourself doing your actions, and your thoughts, you can kind of see them. But there's a difference between the you that is seeing your thoughts, the you that is seeing your actions, and the you that is seeing you feel your emotions, which you could call the observer. And the boundless space that is you when none of that is happening. This boundless space that again is clearly evident by way of observing the reality of deep sleep is beyond even the observer consciousness that is more blissful and content, no matter what troubles is facing the ego self or the self that is the story that we tell about ourselves. We often identify ourselves as the observer of our experiences when we first get into spirituality. We notice that no matter what troubles are going on, there is something that is enjoying the story of our lives if we can look deep enough and find it. But the true self is instead the boundless space in which both the observation and the experience of observer occur within. You see, this process of awakening to the observer self, which is, you could say, a first step to awakening to the true self, happens within the space of pure awareness. A pure awareness that did not awaken, a pure awareness that was not born, a pure awareness that will not die, and a pure awareness that has no story about it. There's no story. Meditation, as well as other mindfulness practices, can definitely help break down the barrier between the observer and the expansive spatial nature of the true self. When in meditation, if the goal is to stay with the breath, a secondary meditation can also happen, whereas the ego consciousness is attempting to tap into the observer consciousness by focusing on the breath. The secondary meditation is to notice how all of this is happening, the guidance of the observer, the relaxation of the ego, the breath and the body itself, how all of this dynamic life is happening within a space that is not moving, not participating, and yet still authentically 100% you. This realization when deepened and integrated into yourself, is the most happy realization for anyone to experience. It is also most rare because the guidance to this true self is obscured by too many people pretending to be teachers, too much information on the internet that's somewhat right but mostly wrong, which I usually call half truths. And I say about half truths that every half truth is a whole lie. And our mission as human beings, when it comes to in our story, experiencing more human freedom and breaking free from what binds us in terms of human activity. Okay, what kind of tortures us in terms of human activity, and what guides us to being blindly obedient to evil, making us evil within ourselves, making us sinners, if you will, for the Christian community within ourselves or within our own capacities. In our mission to break free from all of this realization is the most powerful tool available. It's the domino that knocks over all of the other dominoes. It's the first domino. It is the key to unlocking not your full potential as the dynamic you in terms of like your talents and being able to make money and none of that, but your full potential as a being that is spiritual in nature, to connect with all things from a place of true love, which is not infatuation or admiration, or it's not purely emotional feeling, right? True love is something else. And so our ability and potential to connect with all things in all parts of um, the story self, if you will, and the story selves around us, that potential is reachable most powerfully through the realization of your true self, which is not your dynamic self, it's not the emotional self, it's not the action self, and even not the observer self. It is the space through which all of these other selves that had a beginning and awakened and all of these things happen within. Okay. And the community most benefits from one who awakens to this self. Anyone who awakens to this true self no longer commits to anything but true love. Anyone who awakens to this true self no longer identifies with anything but true love. They become true love itself, and true love does not have to be taught to this person, to this being. There's no way to explain to you what changes, because the truth is that it's not that something changes about the true self. It's more so that the only change that happens is the identity is stripped away from the false self and gently returns to its original place, to its eternal place. That's all. That's all. Also, the fear of death is completely dealt with and done away with this realization. go back a few Monday episodes, a few B-Day episodes to learn about the self-inquiry techniques that lead you to immediate tasting of your true self. And if you stick to self-inquiry, you will indeed be the community member in your community who awakens to the true self. And becomes truly free, at least in your individual capacity. No matter what they do to you, this awakening does away with any bad feelings about it, as well as brings true love into the equation where it would otherwise most likely be unavailable. Also, you can check out the link in our bio for meditation of the heart replays, as well as ways to connect with me for meditation coach purposes. Lastly, I'll say, please get yourself a copy of Culture Control: Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, and read the book. Get a couple copies, get one for yourself and one you can give away. Tomorrow is Cleanse Day. Tuesday is Cleanse Day at this podcast, and we'll talk about cleanse topics. Can't wait to see you there. Hit us in the comment section with your own experience with the true self or your desire on how to get there and what's stopping you. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace and love.